Hi Farmies. Let's talk about what is supposed to happen with antidiuretic hormone. So what's supposed to happen is that when your body is dehydrated, I made you a little cactus in the sun so you can remember dehydration. The posterior pituitary senses that dehydration and releases antidiuretic hormone, also known as vasopressin, and it says stop diuresing, retain water. So I gave you a stop losing water, so we're going to gain water, and it brings our body back to balance. So it fixes the dehydration. That's the feedback loop. And so when there's no more dehydration, then your pituitary gland stops producing the antidiuretic hormone and everything's good. Well, what happens in diabetes insipidus is that you don't have enough of this. So your body doesn't get the antidiuretic hormone, so it just keeps diuresing. So you don't get balance, you get lots and lots and lots of urine. Okay? So with diabetes insipidus, you don't have anything that says that tells your body to stop diuresing and hang on to water, so you get lots of urine. So what you need is some more of this. So vasopressin we've already talked about in terms of a cardiac medication, which we can give that is a vasoconstrictor. So vasopressin isn't the exogenous form of antidiuretic hormone. Vasopressin isn't really what we want to use for diabetes insipidus. We want to use this medication called desmopressin. So what desmopressin does is it gives you an exogenous form of antidiuretic hormone that causes you to hang on to water, and it doesn't affect your blood pressure nearly as much as vasopressin because it doesn't cause constriction of the blood vessels. All right, so with we're going to do, because we don't have enough with DI of this, we're going to do desmopressin, Desmo to the rescue instead, and now we get our happy face balance again because we retain fluid instead of spilling it all out on our urine. All right, so here's our little guy. So here's our statement. Desmopressin works by limiting the amount of water that's eliminated in the urine. That is, it is an antidiuretic. So it's replacing this that we're not getting in diabetes insipidus. So this is DI. DI says you don't have enough of that. So we're going to have to add it on our own as a medication. But so we do that, okay? Here's our little guy. He's taking desmopressin. Here's his little desmopressin pills. He's taking desmopressin, and he's retaining fluid. All right, here he is. I'm going to make a little bit of fluid. He's retaining some fluid. He's retaining some more fluid. He's retaining some more fluid. He's retaining some more fluid. Can you see that this could become a problem? So too much fluid or fluid overload is one of the complications. Just like any other farm, if we get too much of a good thing, too much of our therapeutic benefit, it becomes a complication. So fluid overload, and what happens is he only has a certain amount of salt. So we're worried about his salt. If he has fluid overload, the amount of salt in his body is getting diluted. Every time we added fluid, his salt is becoming diluted, and so he ends up with hyponatremia. So fluid volume overload and hyponatremia are the big side effects that come along with desmopressin. So let me show you our little card here. So antidiuretic hormone is what we're talking about. And it can either be vasopressin, which is your body's natural antidiuretic hormone, and we can also give that in a synthetic version. I think that's, you can read it. And then the other antidiuretic hormone, the one that we're talking about today, is desmopressin. It's used to treat diabetes insipidus. It mimics our body's own antidiuretic hormone, which is produced by the posterior pituitary. Remember our picture here, posterior pituitary. and it decreases the amount of urine that we're spilling, and it increases urine osmolality. So the side effects include overhydration. So here he is filling up with water. It's basically drowning from the inside out. That can give you a headache. So that extra fluid volume overload can give you a headache, can make it a little hard to breathe. The key points, the key takeaway points are going to be to reduce fluid intake during the therapy, to monitor eyes and nose very carefully, to watch their urine-specific gravity, and the urine output should be brought back to a normal of 1.5 to 2 liters for every 24 hours. That would be the therapeutic benefit. That's what we would expect for a normal adult. So we really want the person who's the person with DI, diabetes insipidus, who's spilling way too much urine, to be able to hang on to some of that water, but not so much that they become fluid volume overloaded or have hyponatremia. All right, that's all for desmopressin.